What's going on, everybody? Welcome to After Prison Show. And today I want to tell you guys a story about how an orange shirt just like this cost us some business. In fact, I guess the better way to put this is I want to tell you guys a story about how After Prison Show, never would have thought I would have said this, but I guess I should have expected it. How After Prison Show actually cost us probably one of the biggest opportunities we've ever had. Folks, this story is absolutely insane. It took place yesterday, and it took place at the post office. You know, usually when we go to the post office, we film going there to pick up the mail from the P.O. box. Well, yesterday would be one of the few times that we've been there where we didn't do that. And maybe that was the first sign of trouble. Maybe we should have been filming this entire experience because I wouldn't have to tell you the story about this, and we would actually have the video proof of it. But it really did happen, and this was just damn crazy. And so again, folks, yesterday we went to the P.O. box to get the mail, and we also had some packages we needed to send out as well. We had about 6 or 7 packages we needed to send out from things that we have been selling to either awesome supporters of After Prison Show or to just people in general from eBay. And we got all of the mail out from the P.O. box, and it was a good amount of mail for all sorts of everybody. Rabbit, Shannon, Jellico, even Jew-Man got some packages. Dave probably, and maybe me as well. But after we got all of the mail out, we began to address all of the envelopes or the envelopes that we had left that we needed to mail out. And we must have gotten to the post office at the perfect time because it was 1:45, and this place wasn't busy. After getting all of the packages addressed, we went into the post office side of the post office. There's 2 parts. You got the P.O. boxes and you got the door you got to go through to deal with the clerks and the nice people who work at the post office. So we went in there. There was only one person in front of us, nobody behind us. This place was dead. There was only one clerk working, and again, it was 1:45, so I imagine everybody else was on lunch break. But that was okay. There was only one person in front of us, and I didn't mind waiting. But as we were sitting there with our 6 or 7 items waiting to get postage for these, all of a sudden, out of my peripheral, I would notice that, an older woman came in and she was behind me. I looked at her. She was making absolute eye contact with me. She was probably in her late 70s, maybe 80s, a very nice woman. Not only did I notice that she was making absolute eye contact with me, I noticed that she only had one item in her hand as well. And I know some of you may be waiting for me to say, and because she only had one item, I said, look, ma'am, I've got 6 or 7. You can go in front of me. I absolutely did not do that at all. My time is just as precious as her time is as well. And you know what? Had I let her go in front of me, somebody else would have came in there. It's just the way that it happens. And maybe she was looking at me anticipating that I was going to do something like that, or maybe she wasn't. But regardless, I would look away from this woman and be patiently waiting my turn to get up to the clerk, and I would feel this woman staring at me. You know how you can kind of feel somebody watching you? Well, I could feel that, and not only could I feel that, I could see it out of my peripheral as well. This woman was staring at me. And I don't want to sit here and make any assumptions and say, it's probably because of how good looking I am. I don't want to say anything like that. But this woman would end up asking me a question. She would ask me, hey, do you sell a lot of things online? And at first this question would catch me off guard. I'm not exactly sure why, but it would. And I would finally just say to this woman, yes, I think, I guess I do. I guess I do sell a lot of things online. So I'm quite certain the reason she was staring at me was not because of my GQ-ish looks. It was more because she wanted to ask me about selling things. This 80-year-old woman asked me if I sold a lot of things online. I was surprised she even knew what the internet was, but I told her I did. And then she would ask me if I would be willing to sell some items for her. This also caught me off guard, but I responded to this woman saying, well, it all depends on what you have. If it's some trash, I don't know what I'm honestly going to be able to do with it, but, maybe we could talk and maybe you could tell me what it is that, you want to sell, whatever. And then she would follow up by telling me, but they're not for me. Even though I just said, if I have some items, would you be willing to sell them for me? She said, they're not for me, but for a friend of mine. And I said, yeah, sure. If your friend has some items that they need sold, maybe I could help them with that. But I said, again, it's all going to be dependent upon what type of items your friend wants to try to sell. And folks, what would come next was probably the opportunity of a lifetime that was dropped in my lap like a pass from Tom Brady to Antonio Brown. Just perfectly put right there. This woman would tell me that her friend was attempting to sell her estate and needed some help with that. Folks, I have just been solicited to become the broker of an estate deal. I'm not going to lie. When this woman asked me about this potential proposition, I was beside myself. I thought this was the opportunity of a lifetime. With the storage units and with everything that we attempt to sell, shoot, I've become sort of like a expert seller Even though I lowball the hell out of myself, I probably underbid and undersell most of my items. And I'm probably sitting on some really valuable antique items right now that I've got listed for like $100 or $200. I'm just trying to get them items gone. Get gone now, which are probably $1,000 or better value. This woman told me that her friend was attempting to sell her estate. She needed some help with that. I could potentially be a broker, an estate broker, folks. If this were to take place, we would have to open up the video, vlog stylish, Joe with the sweater tied around my neck like Harvard or Yale, and speaking absolutely coherently in absolute proper English. Good day to all of you fine ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to After Prison Show Meets the Fabulous Life of the Rich and Famous. Folks, welcome yourself. Thank you for partaking in what we have in store for you today on this episode of After Prison Show Meets the Antique Roadshow. There were a lot of things that were going through my mind when this woman was telling me about this, this proposition. But the biggest thing that was going through my mind was this was probably the opportunity of a lifetime. And thank God this entire conversation was about this and not the fact of this woman wanting to know if, she could go in front of me or not. Because even if she would have asked me after all of this, I probably still would have said no. My time is just as valuable as yours, ma'am. You got to wait your turn. Now, as this conversation was taking place between me and this woman, there was another man who came in. He was behind the woman, and he was eavesdropping. He had his ears all up in the conversation, and he would be, kind of like butting in a little bit. Maybe he was trying to get a piece of the pie for himself. I don't honestly know, but I need to throw that part in there because this guy would actually toss me a lifeline, but we haven't gotten to that just yet, and I would completely miss the lifeline and go a complete opposite direction. I would swim right into the rip current and didn't do myself any favors trying to save myself. But maybe it wasn't the right thing. But again, we'll get to that. This conversation between me and this woman would wrap up with us exchanging phone numbers. And then it was my turn to go up to the clerk to begin to get the postage so that we could send out the 6 or 7 things that we needed to. And it was while I was at the clerk, dealing with them, that this woman would ask me another question from behind. This woman would ask me, she would say, Joe, what is that prison shirt, that prison orange shirt that you are wearing? And this was not a question that this woman asked me. This was more of an accusatory tone, not so much of an inquiry, but more of an interrogation type of a question. And this completely caught me off guard. The sweater that I had proverbially tied around my shoulders like a Harvard or Yale student completely came undone with the realization that this woman was realizing, everything that there was to realize about my orange prison After Prison Show shirt that I had on yesterday. It was the wrong day to be rocking that prison orange. It was the wrong place at the right time, or vice versa. Joe, what is that orange prison shirt you've got on? Oh, prison no. Ooh. For an 80-year-old woman, she surely was observant. I had absolutely no words, and that's a rare occasion. All I was thinking about was, my God, I am about to be an estate broker here. God only knows, what the return on investment could be with this. It could be a lot, it could be nothing. But this was a hell of an opportunity that was quickly slipping through my hands like sand, just as quickly as it was there to begin with. Boy, that's deep. That's philosophical right there. I turned around to face this woman, and before I could even utter a word, the man that had been eavesdropping our conversation attempted to throw me that lifeline, folks, and I did not take it. I should have. But maybe that would have been the wrong thing. Before I could even utter one single syllable, this man would say, well, Margaret, maybe he's a bail bondsman. I don't know if her name was Margaret. I don't even know. Yeah, she did tell me. I think it actually was. Margaret or Margarine. Isn't that like butter? Well, Margarine, he probably is a bail bondsman. The lifeline of a century right there. I could have grabbed onto that ring and just swam with it instead of ran with it. But I wouldn't take it. Damn, I probably should have. I should have went with that. That probably could have salvaged this brokerage deal for this estate sale. And real quick, if you don't know what an estate sale is, I probably should have mentioned that in the beginning. I'm not all that smart. I didn't learn about what one is until just recently. You're probably hearing me talk all this estate sale stuff, thinking to yourself, Joe, estate sale, like a steak? What are you talking about, some Heinz 57? Some A1 sauce? An estate sale, for those of you who may not know, it's basically when people sell everything that they have right before, they're about to no longer be here. It's kind of a crazy thing. Or maybe they do it after you've already passed over. But an estate sale is basically when all of your belongings are sold near or after your life is over. And again, this man gave me the perfect opportunity to save myself. I could have just said, yep, you know what? Hey, Bob's right. Bob is right. Bob, you are perceptive. You are contraceptive, Bob. You're right. I am a bail bondsman. Prisoners, I ain't got nothing to do with them. In fact, I arrest them. I don't know why I started talking all country trying to say it like that, but I wouldn't go that route. In fact, what I would do is I would pull out my phone. I would show this woman After Prison Show on YouTube, which she looked to be exactly as you would imagine, completely clueless about what the hell YouTube is, let alone After Prison Show. I said, ma'am, I've got to, look, here's my phone. You've seen one of these cellular devices. We're no longer living in the 1800s. This is a cellular device. It is a mobile telephone. No rotary dial. This probably sounds horrible. I said, ma'am, this shirt represents a brand that I've created. It's called After Prison Show. We do a lot of different things with this brand, this channel. It's not like HBO. It's not the Oprah Network. No. No, we've never had an opportunity to be on TV either. Well, yes, we have, and they've lied to us quite a bit. Look, so anyways, it's all about After Prison Show. We do positive things. We do work with prisoners. I used to be one myself. And folks, as soon as I said that, Margarine, this buttery, slippery chick, she could not be bothered by anything else that I had to say. In fact, as soon as I said, yes, ma'am, I used to be a prisoner as well, her entire demeanor changed from sweet old 80-year-old woman, super perceptive at that, from just the sweetest old woman that you could possibly imagine, to stone cold Steve Austin. I thought this woman was about to stone cold stunner my ass up in that post office. Oh, you used to be a prisoner? Get up out of here with that. Forget this whole conversation we was just having. Here's your phone number back too. Take that. Oh, you used to be a prisoner. Oh, that doesn't go good with Margarine. Oh no. I probably should have lied and said that I was a bail bondsman. But I didn't. I pride myself on being truthful and being real. But sometimes being truthful and being real, or being truthful in general, just ain't the right thing to do. Especially when you're Tekashi 6ix9ine, who's been on the stand for the last 3 days last week. Boy, Jim Jones and Cardi B, God bless it. You tell on everybody. Now you got to imagine something, folks, or you got to just keep this in mind. I need to throw this in here. Prior to me getting my turn to go up to the clerk and to deal with my packages, this woman said that she was going to pass my information along, my phone number, to her good friend who was in need of somebody to help her sell her estate, and that she was going to be calling. And wouldn't you know, after the entire conversation about After Prison Show and the fact that I used to be a prisoner, Margarine would tell me, well, I don't think my friend's going to be calling you. You just cut right to the chase. You just cut right there. I mean, you know what? Hey, at least I'm glad that you didn't blow smoke up my ass. Them older women, they're going to tell you how it is. Sometimes it's a little too real. And that was kind of hurtful. I was kind of hit all up in the feels with that. Wow, Margarine, Jesus. And I don't really know how to feel about that whole situation. I could sit here and say, I was stereotyped for being an ex-convict. But forget all that. That doesn't even matter. Folks, we had the greatest potential opportunity ever. Could you imagine us out there trying to help this woman get some things sold? And, maybe everything happens for a reason. Maybe this woman would have had items that were above our pay grade. Or maybe they wouldn't even have been worth our time to start with. Lady, you got nothing but Tupperware in here. What we gonna do with that? They say everything happens for a reason, and for whatever the reason, this situation would end the way that it did. Felt like an amazing opportunity at the initial onset of the conversation when this woman's beady eyes was all over the side of my face. I could feel her hot ass breath through them dentures, all up on my neck. And all of that would lead to an amazing conversation and potential opportunity that would be negated by an orange After Prison Show t-shirt. But you know what? Margarine, you know what? I know you're watching this video. You probably figured out how to use YouTube now and have looked me up and down like you was doing in the post office. I'm married, for God's sakes. If you're not willing to look beneath the surface and also past my criminal record, that's okay. There's plenty of others who ain't willing to do that neither. So you're no different from the rest. And you know what? Even though that opportunity has all but completely slipped through our hands like sand, because she most certainly ain't called me and neither has her friend, it made for a damn good story to be able to share with you guys here. And I want to ask all of you, how would you have handled this situation had you been me at this post office and this woman was asking me about the orange After Prison Show t-shirt? Joe? God bless it. Joe, orange though? Orange. Who's wearing orange these days? It's 2019. I should know. I've been here 100 years. I'm more surprised that you can read the small print without your Coke bottle glasses on, Margarine. Can't believe it's not butter neither. How would you guys have handled that situation if you were in my shoes? Regardless, we will chalk it up like so many other things that we have to chalk up because of who we are, because of where we've been, what we've done, and that stigma that we forever carry with ourselves. You gotta keep this in mind too. It's almost like After Prison Show represents the entirety of the picture, right? Because as a person who's been in trouble and a person who has a criminal record, you carry that with you forever. And when people realize and know that about you, there's gonna be a lot of people in jobs, especially, that judge you, places to live, banks, credit, potentially. And After Prison Show is completely in the face of the world with the fact that we have criminal records and we've been to prison. But yet after prison, we're all attempting to do better. We're not out here trying to get one over on anybody or do, scams or anything like that. And I guess with the fact that it is so wide open, we are going to deal with the stereotypes just that much more, a hell of a lot more. But it is what it is. I wish Margarine and her best friend all the luck in the world. And let's be honest, I'm no one even remotely qualified to try to be helping you with an estate sale. Have you ever seen the way that I bid some of these jobs or seen what I be selling some of these items for? Margarine's friend? Yeah, so the china set that you had that was completely solid silver, the silverware set that was probably worth at least $10,000, we did get a sale. It sold for $100. I still get 10% of that, right? Hey, look, that's it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and a comment, letting me know exactly what you thought about this. And as always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, and don't worry about what nobody else thinks about you neither. And just keep doing you, and make the most of every day. Peace! I can't believe after yesterday I'm still wearing an orange shirt.